And I see Chris is here. Good. Hey, Chris, how's it going? Chris Padgett, can you hear me? That's not good. Chris is down on my left leg. Okay, can everyone else is hopefully hearing me okay?
Can you hear me, Pete?
Hearing you fine.
Yeah, I hear John Wargle.
Yeah.
I hear you
Excellent.
You can hear me. Good. Okay, great.
Good. Carol's here.
I'm
Deacon
here.
Fred is here.
Hello?
Fantastic.
I'm going to go get my other glasses, though.
Okay. Excellent. So fantastic. So, I guess we can ask a clergyman to do this. Deacon Fred, do you want to lead us in a word of prayer here to get us started?
Sure. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Lord Jesus Christ, guide us in our meeting. Help us by the gift of your Spirit to serve your church, to serve Catholic Distance University and its students, and to infuse the world with your truth and love. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Great. Well, thank you all for coming out. It's a little earlier, but I had to kind of change a little bit because I'm actually on vacation this week. To show you my dedication to CDU, I just wanted to make sure we didn't let another week or two go by without doing this, because we've got a couple of new things that are starting. Well, they've kind of been in the works for a while, but I want you to know about sooner rather than later. So without further ado, let me, if I could, open my screen share, and I have my agenda here. Is everyone able to see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Now, before I get started, I wanted to introduce a new a person who's joining us for the first time, Deacon Omar Gutierrez, who's our second deacon. I guess I could have asked him to lead our prayer, but we have a deacon who's a senior deacon who's been with us just a tad longer than you have, Omar. So I hope you won't be offended by that. So, Deacon Omar is teaching Catholic social teaching for us this term, and you're based in Nebraska. Is that right, Omar?
That's correct. Yep.
Excellent. Fantastic. I don't know if you guys know Omar or not, but give him a hearty welcome, because he's a new faculty member in our midst.
Welcome.
All right.
Welcome.
So we have with us. Yes, we have with us. You can see a lot of the names on the screen. If you're logged in by phone, you won't be able to yet. But Professor Alyssa Thorell is here, who's one of our lead faculty in the undergrad. Aaron Urbanchik, which is another strong veteran faculty in our undergrad, is here. Chris Padgett, who does a lot of our introductory courses for the undergrad, is here also. Stephen Boza is here, who teaches moral theology at the grad level. I see Jim Krugel's here, who teaches a variety of systematic courses at the grad level mostly, but also sometimes undergrad. Deacon Bartels is here also, who led us in the prayer, who is an instructor at the AA undergrad level, and is also going to be helping us to revamp some of our prison courses as well, our courses targeted to inmates. Some of you don't know, but we actually have a ministry in addition to what you all are doing. Not really addition to it, but it's sort of an aspect of it that it doesn't come across you very much, because we don't hook up prisoners the same way we do normal students who are not incarcerated. But there is, we do have a fair number of prisoners who take courses from CDU, both at the undergrad, grad level, and also continuing education. So Deacon Fred's going to be helping with that as well. And who else am I forgetting? I saw Carol Brown is here. Carol Brown is instructor specializing in spirituality and the theology of JP2. Professor Dr. Elizabeth Shaw is here, who is our resident expert in all things philosophy, Plato, Aristotle, and William James, and everything in between. So if you want to know the abstract world, she's the one to talk to. Dr. Father John Wargel is here, who's a biblical studies professor primarily. And we also have, I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. Oh, I see Sister Rebecca's here, who is our librarian. I don't know if you've met Sister Rebecca, Omar, but she's our librarian. I'm sure that I mentioned her to you in your orientation, but yeah. But so she's here as well. Professor Brooke Boriak is calling in as well. David Bonagura, who's an outstanding professor. Actually, everyone CDU is outstanding, but David Bonagura is very good. Is calling in as well. He teaches sacraments undergrad. Professor Kathy Vestermark is here too. So all these people you'll hopefully get to know over time. Judy Welsh, you probably dealt with a little bit already. Judy is our not kind of the chief administrator of the academic program. Her title is course development administrator, but she does so much more than that. Sister Mary Margaret is here, who's I'm glad is joining us because she does a lot too. The main thing she's been doing lately is accreditation liaisoning. So we'll be talking about a lot of stuff in this meeting dealing with accreditation. Sorry, what was that?
That was you.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, reverberation there. Okay, so I think we've got everyone. Oh, Teresa Snyder, the dean, the registrar is here also. Thanks for joining us, Teresa, and I hope I haven't left anybody out. I don't think I have, but so this is fantastic. So anyway, thank you all for coming. I'll try to keep this around an hour. Hopefully, maybe a little bit less. Hopefully, not much more. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about some things we've already talked about, by the way of reminder. So the first thing is faculty training. Most of you have done this, and I did not get a chance to look and see the list. But one of the things we're trying to do just in general to kind of, raise CDU's game in terms of faculty is actually invest in you guys by way of training. So we asked you to do a training on assessment. That was kind of last term. This term, we're asking for one on FERPA training, which is the Federal Educational Records Privacy Act. Most of you have done this. It doesn't take very long to do, but it would be great though if you haven't done so to pay attention to those know before emails that you've been getting at your cdu.edu email. So if you could knock that out fairly quickly, that would be great, especially if you're teaching this term. So
Can you say that again? What are we supposed to knock out?
Training. So there's training in federal education. There's a little mini course. It's not a very long course. It's in the Federal Educational Records and Privacy Act.
Yeah.
In terms of just basically, what you're allowed to disclose about student records, what you're not supposed to disclose to third parties, what are the exceptions to that, legitimate educational interest, what is that, what constitutes that? So all those kinds of things. It's pretty basic, but it's all stuff that you should know, especially being online instructors. So I and Judy will start, pinging you. So if you guys know Suzanne Robinson, I think we announced this, but if you haven't heard the news, Suzanne Robinson has left CDU. So she kind of was the person in charge of this before. So I'm going to be sort of taking it over again along with Judy, and we're going to try to make sure that you guys get the training you're supposed to have, in the next semester. Or thereabouts. Okay, so and the training will be sort of an ongoing part of just being a faculty, and it'll comprise a variety of things, and it's not going to be overly time consuming or burdensome. I just want to make sure that you guys are aware this is kind of something HLC wants us to do, and ATS wants us to do, and it's probably for the best of everyone concerned, to do it anyway. So. So be aware of that. Is everyone seeing the emails I'm referring to? These knowbefore.com about this. Okay, Carol is not. Okay, if you're not seeing them, then there's something wrong, and I want to know. So if you could like contact me privately and let me know, so we could figure out what's going on, because you should have received them, and that was one of the reasons I wanted you on a CDU EDU email, because that was where the emails are going for this. Okay, so okay, well, fantastic. So that's what I wanted to say about the faculty training. Are there any questions about that before I go on to something else?
Does the email that you've been sending us that I'm not getting, the know before one, does it include some link to where this training is found?
Yeah. I think it has a link to the course that you're supposed to do. John, you did it. Does it have a link in there?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. I just did it last night. It takes about half an hour, 40 minutes or something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
It's easy to navigate. If I can do it, anybody can. Okay?
Yeah. If John can do it, anybody can. That's true. I do agree with that. Yeah.
Pete knows all about that.
Yeah.
with me.
So.
Pete, could I mention something?
Yes, please.
That might help to clarify. I don't know if this happened in other people's cases, but I received 3 or 4 different email messages, all know before related messages. One was for the FERPA training.
Yeah.
Another indicated that I was to do Title IX training. Another indicated that I was to do strong passwords training. And another one had to do with some sort of security. But when I clicked into the before, it told me all I could do was FERPA. And once I was done with FERPA, it said you're done.
Okay.
That was a mistake. I'm sorry, Pete, to interrupt.
Yeah.
That was a mistake. They overshot too many things, so it really should just be the FERPA training. And Dharma tried to bring back some of that stuff that he sent out. So some people got multiple emails, but it should just be the FERPA one. Just pay attention to the FERPA one.
So if we received more than one, do I need to bother with the others, or shall I just?
No, not now. No.
Okay, great.
I mean, that's the one that we're concerned with. And if you finish it and you've either emailed, you can email Pete and let him know that you finished, or send the little certificate on.
Yeah. I actually get an automatic email, I think, when you finish it anyway now. So.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Great. Good.
Yeah. Excellent.
So Dan Soares, who's our IT person, just made me an administrator of this program last night or 2 nights ago, something like that. So I apparently get some kind of notification if you do finish it. I think Judy gets it too, right, Judy? Don't you get a notification if someone finishes?
I haven't been receiving any notifications.
Okay. All right.
But
well, maybe. Yeah.
You and I can talk and maybe send those
all right.
to you, because I'd like to print it out for the record.
Right. Okay, cool. Okay, so anything else on the training, the FERPA training?
No, I'll do mine this weekend.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Okay, so what I wanted to do the next few minutes is tell you a little bit about Pronto. What is Pronto? Well, rather than just tell you, maybe I will show you. So what I think I will do is go into one of my courses. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to go into.
I can't see your screen, Pete.
Okay, let me.
No, I can't see it either.
Okay, hold on. Let's do stop. And we'll do share. And let's see. Let's try this. How's that? Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So this is my Salvation History course, Scripture 530. Now you guys will notice this also in your courses too. In terms of the left navigation bar, which you guys have actual control of, but there's a default setting, and right now Pronto is defaulting to display, although in some cases in your courses it won't be displayed. But to use it, you'll need to move it into the display column if it's not already displayed. Does everyone know, I've gone over this before, but does everyone know the difference between displaying and non-displaying for left navigation bar? So you see things that are grayed out, those are not displaying. Okay, you can see those, but students can't. Okay, so students can't actually access those links. But if it's black, you can see it, and students can access the link. So if Prado is not there, you'll want to put it there. And does everyone know how to do that? To add it to navigation, active navigation too? I've gone over that before. Does anyone doesn't know that?
I don't.
Good.
Okay. So very quickly, to move anything that's not showing into active navigation, go to course settings at the bottom, and that will be displayed for you. And it doesn't matter actually because you have faculty access. Then go to navigation. Okay, you get course settings here, navigation, and then you see the stack. Does everyone see the stack here at the top? And there's another stack at the bottom. Okay, the top stack is the one that's visible to students. The bottom stack is the one that's invisible to students. See, all these below here are invisible. To make an invisible file visible or vice versa, all you need to do is drag the item up, and now it's visible. Okay, to make it invisible again, I drag it back down, and now it's invisible. Okay, and then I save. Okay, I didn't actually want to change it. So, but at any rate, so if Prado is invisible, and that might happen in a few of your courses because there were some of them that, just to avoid confusion, I didn't want it to display because we were just trying it out. But now we're going to try it out a little more widely. So I want it to display now. So if it's not already displayed, if you would please display it, that would be great. Okay, but what is Prado? Let's kind of cut to the chase here. So Prado is basically, those of you who taught for a while, if you've taught seminars like back in 2014 or before, I think Aaron might have taught them, probably Elizabeth Shaw did, Carol Brown might have at one point. We had something called a cafe. And what a cafe was is it's just sort of a discussion forum for students just to kind of hang out and chat among themselves a little more informally, and it could be about anything. It could be about course material. It could be about, things that are going on in the church. It could be about politics. It could be about the hurricane. It could be about anything, right? And it's just to sort of increase the, social interaction inside a course, okay? Now, this was sort of a forum within the course, though, and the problem with using a forum in the course in that particular manner is it's a pain in the butt. Cell phones have come along. Most people, if they want to contact someone, they just want to do it, bam, right here and now. Facebook, Twitter, sending a text message, are typically 1 or 2 step applications to go on and send. Instagram same way, and to send a message. But the problem with Canvas is to communicate really efficiently with someone.
Yeah.
You've got to go through 5 or 6 different, steps to go to. You got to log into the course, find the course you're taking, find where in the course it would be anywhere, find the specific form you want to post the comment to. You don't have any really easy way to contact a student directly. So all those things Prado was kind of designed to address. Now, Prado is an application that you download on your cell phone. I have it here in mine. And I will send you information about downloading it as well. To really get the meat of Prado, you really do want to download it because if you don't, it's just going to be another discussion forum in your course. But my point is that, so I have the application right here where my thumb is. You can sort of see it. Not really. But basically, it's just a place where you can see lots and lots of discussions going on that are, quick, kind of real time, kind of a combination between Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and text messaging. So what I did was, as an experiment, and I'm showing you the wrong one. Let me go to my other course here. Actually, no. Here it is. I guess it stays in one application. Okay, that's good to know. Okay, so here we go. Let me go back to this again. So basically, I opened it up to my class, which took the class over the summer. And now it really isn't the wrong one. Let me see if I can get back to the right one here. And I just asked them just to try it out to see how they liked it. Did it increase interactivity in the course? Did it, make it easier to talk to one another? Did it, increase the social connection in the course? And almost unanimously, the group said yes. And so what I'm doing here is showing you, let me kind of get this out of the way so you can see. This is kind of just side interactions that were in my course, in my salvation history course. And so you can see that there's a wide variety of stuff students have posted. We have students here who posted like pictures of her son's wedding. Let me see if I can find some images to look at here. So someone was in China when they took the course. They posted pictures from China. There's some Chinese pictures of, I think that's Beijing there. Heidi Hernandez posted pictures of her son's wedding. There were some questions here just that were sort of offbeat type questions, not necessarily relevant to the course, so they posted them here, just curious questions. I posted some GIFs just for fun, some other videos, but you can post like live feed videos. You can post just text posts. You can post GIFs or GIFs. I pronounce them GIFs, but some people say GIFs. This is a terracotta army in China. So basically what I'm telling you is it really kind of increased the social engagement of people in the course. It gave them a way of sort of talking to each other, sort of outside of the classroom, as it were. It gave me a way of sort of engaging them on a more personal level that didn't necessarily involve just doing the, more formal discussion groups. So it worked all around, and I guess what I'm saying to you is I'd like for you guys to try this out in your courses and see if it adds anything. Obviously, you're going to have to kind of, to make it work, you're going to have to let the students know about it and, maybe kind of stir the pot a little bit yourself by posting some stuff on it yourself. So these are some pictures of the Alamo. We had a student who went down to a wedding in San Antonio, and they posted pictures of the wedding and pictures of San Antonio. So it was just kind of neat all around. We had a student who was in the Nebraska flood and posted pictures of that. So there's wedding pictures here. So it was just kind of fun. It's sort of like using social media in a way to engage other CDU students. And there's also, I should tell you, a way to scale this up too, to make it like university wide. So, through the Student Life Center, which is basically a course that everyone is subscribed to, including you all, there's a way that you could, have a group if you wanted to start a pro-life group, or if a student wanted to start a pro-life group, they could do that. If you wanted to have just stream a video on something, you talking about something in the news, whatever, that would be awesome. It could be, us streaming, the gala, which we've never done before, but it will allow students that don't come to the gala, which is the vast majority of students, to participate in it, and faculty who are not able to participate in to also do so. So in other words, it just kind of opens up the door to a lot more than kind of what we're doing just through the sending emails back and forth, and also through the Canvas course. But of course, it syncs to Canvas as well. So, when you're in the Canvas course, all you need to do is click on Prano, and you can see what's going on in your own course's discussion. But the beauty of it is you don't have to actually log into to Canvas to use it. You can just log into your smartphone and post something, okay? And you can set your notifications up so that whenever there's new activity, then you can get an emoji or some other kind of a push notification to know that there's new activity there to respond to. And then you can also monitor, who's posting what. You can see who's actually seen stuff. So you can see here at the very bottom in the lower right, there's a whole series of different avatars. These are all the students that have seen this post and all the posts up above. So you can kind of keep track of who's actually seeing and doing what. Okay, so at any rate, I just want to let you guys know about this. And since Chris is here, Chris has tried this as well. I thought maybe he could talk for a couple minutes about his experiences with it, because he's tried in a couple of his courses as well. So Chris, what was your experience with it? I mean, did you like it?
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah, I do like it. I feel like it's been a great community builder for me. That was my goal with it. Ultimately, I've been trying to figure out the secret to have a little bit more, almost like immediate interaction with students like you do in a real classroom. And I find that Pronto kind of allows for that. So at any given moment, people will go on to the forum to put information about what they're reading in the courses, but this is pretty spontaneous and you get an immediate reaction. So I encourage them right at the beginning of course to sign up for it. And usually most of them do. Even some of the people that have a little bit more difficulty find their way around it. And what I'm trying to ask them to do, though, is to use Pronto primarily not for class material necessarily, but more personal, so that we have a little bit more of a community feel. So that, to me, is how I'm using it. And it's intentionally a little bit disconnected from the material. They can do that if they want. They can talk about the class material, but it's all about kind of getting to know each other. So already this semester, I feel like they've been sharing novenas to one another and just talking about some of the things that stress them out or that are frustrating to them. And I kind of really encourage that, just because then it helps to foster more interaction when they're using and talking about the content. Yeah. I don't offer extra credit, though. I mean, I know that was something that maybe was a possibility.
Yeah, I did offer a little bit of extra credit if they would try it out for a term, and I think I gave them a few extra points if they would do that and fill out a survey at the end to see how they liked it. And all but one of the students liked it. One student didn't like it. One student, was okay about it, but almost all the rest thought it was a big addition to the course. And so, I'm not saying it's going to, by itself, totally transform CDU and the interactivity, but it's something worth trying out. And you can think of it as kind of like a cafe or just a student union or a place for students to kind of hang out virtually that really is designed to kind of sync with the smartphone era, because when we designed the Student Life Center, it was way before the smartphone era, and I just felt like it needed some updating, and we needed to kind of stir the pot a little bit with it. So does everyone understand like what this is and how it works? It's basically just a communications app that you download on your smartphone, and you communicate to people like in the Canvas course, so it syncs to Canvas, but it's closed to anyone else. So only the people in your Canvas course are able to communicate within that Canvas course, but they can communicate with each other much, much more efficiently, seamlessly, and in ways that are, not really constrained by the limitations of the, multi-step process of logging into Canvas.
Pete, question for you to download this. How did you say we do that? Or is there
yeah, so after I'm done here, what I'll do is I'll send you information on how to download. There's a download for faculty and a download for students, but it's very easy. It's just like any app. You can pull it right from iTunes if you have a smartphone, or from the Google Play Store if you've got an Android. It's free. It's a free application. All you have to do is type in your name, the university you're affiliated with. In this case, it would be Catholic Distance University, and it will automatically, sync up to your Canvas account that we have, or that you have already. And it's for 95% of the students that have tried it so far, it's an extremely seamless process. There's occasionally a little bit of a hiccup, but you know, I haven't seen students who haven't been able to do it that want to do it. And again, not all students are going to want to do it. Some of you may not want to do it yourselves. I'm not really trying to force it on you. I'm more trying to let you know it exists and encourage you to give it a try, because I think it will add to your course and probably give you a little bit better feel of your students as well. So,
can I ask something? Having
yes.
into this, does the chatter go on all day then? Kind of.
It depends on the students and it depends on the course. So, so you might get 2 or 3 students that like chatter a lot, and you know, Prana will stop notifying if there's a whole bunch of activity. So you might get 1 notification if there's like 10 in a row that they, you know, they realize it gets absurd to keep pinging you every time. So you'll basically get like a little widget letting you know that there's new activity and to check it out. Oh. But as you can see by the dates, and you can all look at, you know, I can let you see this. It was sort of hot and cold, right? I mean, every day there were a few new posts, questions or whatever. Some students posted new memes. So some days were busier than others, though. And this was a graduate course. An undergraduate course, it could go either way. You could see it a lot more busy, depending on the students, or some students may not even, you know, care about it at all and never use it, you know. So it really depends a lot on the students and what their, you know, what their interest is and what their desire is. There's almost certainly a plurality of students at CDU that would like to interact with their peers and professors more, to the extent that, you know, those peers and those professors are willing and able. So this is really just designed to facilitate that.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes. Do you, who's done this? Do you find that you need to lead as much in Pronto as you, or in the same way as one needs to lead in the formal discussions, or does it just sort of run itself?
I sort of left it to run its own course. I didn't really impose any restrictions or you know, conditions at all on what students post. Now, you know, obviously, you know, you are going to get sooner or later an issue of a student posting thing that's off color or whatever, and you know, you have the ability to delete a post if you don't like it, basically, or you can tell me and I will delete it if you don't like it. I don't expect that to happen very often. I think that's probably very unusual for that to happen. We have a fairly self-selected bunch of students, and there's usually a high amount of decorum in terms of what they post. But yeah, I left students to post whatever they felt like posting, but I did encourage them to use it. And I was just sort of happy with what I got. So you got a lot of prayer requests came up, theological questions came up, personal pictures came up of stuff they're doing that's interesting, very much like the stuff you would see on Facebook, or you know, if you have a, you know, Catholic friends on Facebook, or you know, Twitter or Instagram, that kind of stuff. So, but there's sort of a wide variety of ways you can interact. Now there are limitations to Prana. You can't. It's a little bit hard to have a long conversation with somebody the way it is on Twitter, because you know they don't like put discussions in a hierarchy where you have threads and stuff that you can follow. But you know, maybe they'll address that in the future. I don't know. But so there are some limitations to it. But I just want to let you know that it's here and to kind of encourage you to give it a try. But honestly, it's not going to go anywhere unless, you know, the faculty sort of know about it and at least have some degree of buy-in with it, you know, to kind of try it out.
Hey, could I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I just downloaded it, so that was pretty easy. But in terms of getting the information to the students, did you write up a
Yeah.
step kind of thing.
Yeah. So I was going to send it to all you guys after the meeting. I have, instructions for the students on downloading. To be honest, most of our students are pretty familiar with downloading apps at this stage, and so instructions will probably be superfluous. But yeah, for the probably 10 or 20% of students who are going to have a trouble with it but want to try it, I will forward directions in PDF format that you can take to your students and try it out. Because obviously, if students don't download it, it's not going to do any good, right? And
exactly.
Without having the phone app, it really it's okay, but it doesn't it doesn't really do a whole lot that Canvas doesn't do. The phone app is really the strength of it, because the phone app really sort of just cuts the amount of complexity and bureaucracy and steps to be able to communicate something that your classmates can hear.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Pete, this is Charles Reaper. I'm jumping in late tonight.
No problem. Thanks for joining us.
I thought our meeting was at 7:30, so I apologize.
Oh, no problem. No problem. I made it a little earlier this time. I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
Well, that's quite all right. It serves me right. I should read things a little more carefully, but I was just going to say that as far as downloading apps go, I think students probably have faculty beat on that one.
Right. Depends on the students, depends on the faculty. Yeah.
Well, especially me, I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so how well it works is going to depend a lot on the faculty and a lot on the students. I imagine with some faculty and some students it will really take off. With others, you may see very little new with it, and I think you'll find a lot in between as well. So I want to make this known to you. It is something we're sort of doing a semi-soft rollout this fall to kind of increase the uptake and see how it works. And I wanted to make our faculty as aware as possible about it, because probably where it will start being used is at the level of the course. And if it really takes off the way I'm hoping, it will become like more of a university-wide thing that, you can really build a sense of a CDU community, and you can get students doing things that I don't even anticipate, but, which is sort of more what you expect in a living, vibrant community. So great. Anything else on Prano before we move on?
Yeah, Pete, can you just leave Homer Simpson up there, please?
Yes, definitely.
I'm mesmerized.
Yeah. I love this. Yeah, it's great. Okay. Well, fantastic. Well, I wanted to make sure we get time to talk about what I think is the most important thing that we have, and that's the rollout of the new assessment program, which there's a lot of facets to, but the real meat of the assessment program is going to involve this business of targeted assignments and courses. So I want to kind of introduce you guys to what we're doing with our assessment. So basically, what is assessment? Let me go ahead and stop sharing this and start sharing this. So I'm going to take you to our website just real quickly. And let me go ahead and turn my share back on. So you see here, if you go to our website, you're going to find that for each of our academic programs, and we've got, most of you should know that we have two graduate programs. One's the MA Theology, one's the MA Theology and Educational Ministry. There's one undergraduate program, and there's also an AA program. And for each of these programs, one of the things you're going to find is that there are program goals. Okay? Most of you have taught rather successfully at CDU for many years, many moons, without ever thinking of these goals. But the first step to thinking about them at least a little bit is to becoming aware of them. And so here they are. Okay, these are the program goals for the MA program, which some of you teach in. If I go up to the BA level, you can see there are BL level goals, okay? I'm not going to read them to you. You can read them yourself, but here they are. There's AA goals. Okay, all of these goals are what the program ostensibly is there to do. So the fundamental task of assessment is to figure out, are the programs actually doing what they say they're going to do? Okay, do they in fact accomplish their stated goals, and how do we know? Okay, so that's the goal of assessment. Now, this is sort of a slightly different activity than grading students' work, although the two activities are related, but they're not really exactly the same, and let me explain. So, to explain this better, let me go ahead and move my cursor into a course. And what I'm going to do here is go, this is my Salvation History course. Since I already have that open, I'll just use this one for now. So if you notice, everyone's seen the left navigation bar where you see there's some grayed out sections here. Those of you who are logging in, you see assignments, collaborations, files. There's one called Outcomes. Do you see that where my cursor is? Outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
We've never used this one before. Now we are, though. So if you click on Outcomes, and actually, I'm wondering if I should go to my more recent course, because this new one may not be up yet. Let me see this one. Okay, let me go to my most recent one, which is Fall 2. I think we have this one up. This is the Fall 2 version of my course. These should be up. Okay, yes. Okay, you see here outcomes that are listed. Okay. And you'll notice here for each of these outcomes, these are actually program outcomes. You can see the bullseye beside them.
Hold on a second here, Pete. How did you get there? Was it on a left navigation?
Yeah, left navigation bar, it's outcomes. That's right. Right. Okay. Okay.
Are they there automatically, or do we
no, we've actually spent a great deal of time loading them in here.
Okay.
Yeah. So they weren't, Canvas didn't start that way, but from your point of view, yeah, they are there automatically.
Pete?
Yes.
Perhaps they want to know that not every course is going to have all the outcomes.
No, I know that, sister. We're going to get to aligned assignments in a moment.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought, Elisa, because if she went into hers, maybe she didn't see
Right,
it.
exactly. Okay. So, okay, so basically you're going to find these outcomes here. Now, what are these outcomes? Okay, these outcomes are essentially just actual outcomes that are the exact goals of this particular program that this course exists in. So this particular course is a course in both the MA Theology and the MA Theology in Educational Ministry. Okay, and so it exists in both of those. So the question would be, how is the course working? And the broader question is, how how's the program working in the context of all these various courses within the program? Okay, so if I could, let's see here. New Testament fulfilled Old Testament. Okay, so one of the things what happens is when you click on one of the aligned outcomes, you click on an outcome in your particular course, what you will find is, and what I did, let me go back here to see what I did there. So I picked on one that I knew was there. This is New Testament fulfills Old Testament. You'll find in most of your courses just one or two, right? Which are the ones that are set up. Just to kind of experiment with this, I loaded a bunch of them in here. But when you click on this one, what you'll find here is this. Okay, you'll see aligned items. Now, what these are specific assignments, exercises, or whatever in my course that are aligned to this particular outcome. Okay, let me go back here and show you this in a little more detail. So this is the actual program goal. The New Testament fulfills the Old Testament. This is the sort of shorthand way of saying students at the end of our program will demonstrate how the New Testament fulfills the Old Testament with regard to Jesus Christ, the church as the people of God, and its sacramental life, okay? And we'll actually get a scale on this from every single assignment. Okay, so click on this, and now you see that there are particular assignments that are key to measuring this particular outcome in terms of whether it's fulfilled or not. Okay, now in this particular case, I have 2 aligned outcomes. Okay, the term paper final project, the discussion in week 2. Okay, each of your courses will have at least 1 aligned item. Okay, which is an item that we basically, when we went through the whole program with all the courses, we looked at and said, okay, we can't actually assess the program, look at every particular thing that a student does in the course because there's too much. You know, if you're doing an assembly line and you're producing millions of widgets, you know, if you want to do a quality control check, you can't check every single widget, but what you can do is check 2% of the widgets and see if those widgets are defective or not, or see like what percentage of those are defective, and that will allow you to make inferences about how effective your machine is or whether it needs to be recalibrated or not. So that's basically what this is. This is basically a very tiny sampling of assignments in each of the courses that are keyed to the respective program outcomes. Okay, so in the case of mine, there's 2 of these. This one is, ignore the second one, that's junk, I need to get rid of that one. But the first one here is term paper final project, discussion week 2. Let's look at discussion week 2, just as an example to see. Okay, so I click on this, and I go to my discussion, and here it is, the week 2 discussion. Okay, and nothing has happened in this course because the course hasn't run yet. It doesn't actually run until fall 2. But when it does run, what's going to happen is, like with all the discussions, I'm going to go in and grade the discussion, okay, and give students the ordinary grade on exactly the same way we've always done, or you've always done, okay? But there's one other thing with this particular assignment that you're going to do. In addition to grading it with these target assignments, we're going to ask you to assess the assignment or assess the student if you want to think of it. And in doing so, you're going to help us to assess the overall program. So basically, when I go into my speed grader here, and it's going to be empty at this stage, okay, because there's nothing here yet, right, because students have not actually done the course. But you see here are the students all set up. Okay, but when I go to grade, I'm going to find out there's a rubric in this case, which is already preloaded, okay, and here it is. And notice, voila, what is it? It's the actual targeted assessment item. New Testament fulfills Old Testament, okay, and then I basically go in, and when I do the student grade for this assignment only, I go in and give a 4-point, a 3-point, a 2-point, or 1 point, depending on how well the student did. Comments are welcome too, but you know, you don't have to write a comment on every single student, but comments where warranted are useful also. 4 points outstanding, 3 points exceeds expectations, 2 points meets expectations, 1 point does not meet expectations, okay? And so when you're grading this for that particular week alone, for that particular assignment, you're going to go in and do an assessment score on that particular student for that particular assignment for each of the students that week, if that makes sense, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and put a point score for Angela Bouquet, and then I go to the next one. Arthur Costa, same thing. Christina Davis, same thing. Okay, Ann Heath, same thing. Okay, so, and that's it. Okay, I don't do anything else other than that. Okay, now what Canvas will do is take all of these scores from this point and aggregate it with the rest of the scores from all the other targeted assignments in the rest of the program and give us an aggregate score for how well, you know, CDU's MA Theology and Educational Ministry is doing, okay? So it will help us both to kind of assess a little bit how well this course or this particular assignment we could say is doing, but also in the broader scheme of things, how well the whole program is doing. So if you think of this as being like a little chamber within a larger honeycomb, this is my little chamber here. As an instructor, this is my chamber. This is the one contribution that I have to the whole CDU assessment program. Okay? If you want to think of the whole honeycomb, okay, that's going to be all the other instructors that are going to be basically doing the same thing you are. Okay? So again, it sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. Okay, all you're doing is just with the 1 or 2 assignments, you're going to go ahead and do an assessment for us. Okay, in terms of how well this particular assignment is working within the program. And try to be honest, you know, you don't have to give everybody a 2. If they really are good, you should give them a 3 or 4. If they really are terrible, please give them a 1. If there's nothing at all, then leave it blank, okay? All right, so I gave you a lot there. Let me go ahead and walk you through another example. So maybe if we do a couple others like this, it'll become more clear. Okay, so let's take a look at an undergraduate course. This is a graduate course. Okay, let's take a look at an AA course, perfect one. And I'll use Charles Reaper's course just because I know it's running this term, and this has one in it. This has a, I think it's Humanities 252. Let's try that one. Fall 1. Okay, good. So we'll go into Charles' course here. Okay, this is Humanities 252. This is Christian Civilization. This is a course at our AA program, but it's also a course that a lot of BA students take as well. Okay, there is an aligned assignment in this course too. Every single course, okay, has at least 1, sometimes 2 aligned assignments. Okay, 1 or 2 is the average. I'd say the average is about 1.4 per course. So most of them only have 1. Some of them have 2. Okay, which is the aligned assignment here? Well, let's look. I click Outcomes. Okay, now these are different outcomes, of course, because this is a different program that this course is in. Okay. There's 2 outcomes in this case we're testing. One is general education and church teachings. This is going to be demonstrate understanding, comprehension, integration of the content of general education and core courses within the context of the teachings of the Catholic Church. Okay, this is the goal for the AA program, fittingly because there's a lot of general education at the AA level. Okay, so which is the targeted assignment in Charles's course? I click on the outcome, okay, and here I am. Okay, there's 2 of them here. Discussion week 4. Let's take a look. Okay, same thing. So we've got the discussion here. Okay, when the discussion takes place, and this one hasn't happened yet because we're in this is week 4 and we're only in week 2 now. When it happens though, Charles will go into SpeedGrader, grade the course as he would before, grade the discussion as he would before, except now he'll see there's a rubric. Okay, and in this case, there's actually 2 outcomes in this rubric. So basically, we're asking Charles to grade 2 outcomes, or to assess 2 outcomes in this particular course for this particular assignment, and that's it. Okay, it's just this particular assignment. That's it. So this is going to be 1 online discussion, vocation, and teachings. This is the longer description. This is exhibits an ability to engage in online discussion that demonstrates knowledge and teaching of the church and how they inform Christian vocation in the world. So in addition to grading this, Charles will also assess whether this particular assignment or the student's work produced in this assignment seems to be meeting the goals of the program as a whole. Okay, and again, this is only 1 little data point of 1 little assignment in 1 little class. Okay. Once we aggregate the data, we'll get a bigger picture, at least theoretically, in terms of how well the course is working. So again, this is not a huge deal, okay? This is not a lot. It's important that we do this, okay? And it's really important you guys understand what we're doing so you guys can understand sort of the big picture and sort of your role within the smaller picture. But understand it's not a lot of work to do this, okay? It's just basically going in, and you could think of it as almost grading it a second time, except the second time you're assessing it. Okay, and it's only this particular assignment that you're doing this assessment. Okay, again, The first time you're grading based on whatever you wanted to grade for the discussion. How good the posts are, whether the student advances the discussion, whatever criteria you're using to grade for the discussion, that's kind of up to you. But here, we're asking you now to assess. Does the work of the student in this particular assignment for this particular course seem to fit in, seem to demonstrate the meeting of university outcomes, or I'm sorry, not university outcomes, program outcomes or not for the AA program? Okay? Does this kind of make sense, or are you all lost?
Can I just ask?
I have a question, Peter.
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
This is Charles Reaper here. I went ahead and I pulled up Speed Grader to look at this particular assignment discussion for the 4th week. 2 questions. Number 1, have the students been informed that we are doing this?
Good question. No, they have not. And, it's not like a secret, right? You're free to tell them, but to be honest with you, this is not stuff that students ever really themselves see. This is really for us to see. Okay, it's for the administration of CEU to see and for the faculty to see. Okay, it basically is about how well we're doing, how well the university's doing, how well the program's doing, how well the course is doing, how well the assignment is doing, if that makes sense.
I think so, because you could have a situation of where students usually does pretty well, as far as being engaged with the class, posts and everything, but this week they're off for whatever reason.
Right.
And I guess this leads to my second question. Does this go on their transcripts at all? Or
No. Again, you're not grading the students here. You're not grading the students, and that's why, it's sort of, whether you tell them or not, this is going on. 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I don't see any reason to. They probably wouldn't understand it if you did. The main thing they're going to see is your evaluation, your grade of them. But this is the difference, again, between grading on the one hand and assessing on the other hand. Grading is about evaluation of the student's work according to the criteria that you set forth in the course. Assessing is seeing if the assignment is working in the broader context of your course, and in turn in the broader context of the course, of the program that the course is part of. Okay, if that makes sense.
They're actually grading the assignment, not the student's particular performance per se.
Well, you're both, right? I mean, you're grading the student's performance, but you're grading the student's performance according to this other standard. Okay.
Well, okay.
Right. It's an assessment, right? Okay, so you're doing this in addition to grading the student, not in subtraction from it. So it's not. This is an outcome rubric, right? If you notice here, everyone see, those of you who are logged in, you can see there's a bullseye by this. You see the bullseye at the top? You see the bullseye under criteria? These are outcomes, okay? Those are outcome rubrics. Outcome rubrics are keyed toward program goals, okay? This is different than the specific criteria that you use to grade a discussion. Okay, you might grade the discussion on number of posts a week. Okay, you might grade the discussion on quality of posts. You might grade it on whether it advances the discussion or not. Okay, again, all that's important from the standpoint of the student and your grading. That's not what we care about here. Okay, we're asking you a different question. Does that make sense?
A little bit.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to be an exact evaluation, but
yeah. So again, I realize this is kind of why I wanted you here. I realize it's probably going to take a couple of go-arounds before you guys, get your mind around what this is and what we're doing. And again, once you see how easy it is, it's not really anything like radically different than what you've already been doing. It's just in a certain sense asking a slightly different question of the assignment and the student's work in a broader context than what you're maybe used to. Okay, most faculty, and I've been a faculty too, they don't think about, program goals. I never think of program goals, when I grade assignments. Okay, On the other hand, it might be not the worst thing in the world if we became slightly aware of program goals, at least in the back of our mind when we're doing our normal work. Okay, because this is sort of what we're being able to tell the world about how effective and successful our programs are at doing what they say they're going to do.
Pete?
Yes.
I've been trying to toy with this as well, and I don't know if this helps at all. But the idea is that we are assessing to the extent that our students are mastering the program goals. And we're using assignments to try and see if in this assignment, how well did this assignment demonstrate the student has, mastered the connection between the Old Testament and the New Testament, or whatever it happens to be. It's looking at the assignment in terms of how well is the program goal being met, and again, it's not so much even the student, but it's the answer. Is it showing us that this particular goal is being met or not? And that's why if it's not showing us it's being met, then we have to find another way to help us measure the fact that this goal is being met. Does that help?
If I could just interject, what I see happening here, in my experience working with the artifacts that Pete had assigned me to do for the assessments of the comprehensive exams, what I saw in doing that was in my mind thinking, well, maybe this sentence needs, this question needs to be tweaked a little bit or changed a little bit so that we could get a better read of whether this goal or this outcome is being met. And I see the same thing here. So if I'm looking at one of mine program outcomes, and I'm looking and seeing that most of my students aren't meeting that, my question would be, do I have to change that question, or do I have to change that question and make it a little bit more pertinent to the goal,
right,
to the outcome?
So this is of course part of what's exactly supposed to happen in assessment, right? We call it sort of closing the loop, right? So we do the work, we assess to see whether it's working, we kind of evaluate how well it's working, and then we close the loop again to make changes before we do the work a second time, right? And so that's right. So if you find that when you do this, like everything's a 2 or a 1 on this, then it's like, well, maybe, there could be a number of things, right? Maybe the assignment isn't working. Maybe the instructions for the assignment are, need to be clarified better. Maybe maybe you just have a bad bunch of students. I mean, that could happen. Maybe the alignment is inappropriate, and that's another possibility too that we haven't really discussed, and I'm sure that's going to happen. It's a heavy lift enough to get you guys involved with this, but Sister and I basically sat down and kind of picked assignments throughout the courses, of all the courses, in the context of the broader program, in the theory that these actually were aligned with the program goals. Now, it's not to say we did it perfectly, or that, you might come up with, well, you're trying to measure this goal here, but maybe this assignment in my course would be much better suited to that because this one really wasn't designed for that. So that's a discussion we can certainly have, right? If once we kind of get started with this, all of this, can be changed. It's nothing is written in stone. Another issue that came up a little bit was the goals of the programs themselves needed to be refined. Some of them were rather redundant. Some of them were kind of vague. Some of them were a little hard to measure. So we had this kind of discussion as well. And actually, those of you who are in the Faculty Governance Committee, I'm going to ask you to look at the BA and the AA to approve some small board changes to those to those program goals, just because they were sort of redundant. So all of this is designed to help CDU improve as an institution in a kind of a continuous way. where every time we run a course, it's at least in theory better than the last time we ran it, right? And that's and to be honest with you, to do it effectively though, faculty need to be involved in it, and that's why I'm bringing this to you guys so that you're aware of this and that you can help us in terms of the actual assessment process a little bit, but in a way that's feasible. It can be done at scale, doesn't increase your workload in a very big way at all. It just basically asks you to take one assignment, which probably didn't take you that long to grade to begin with, hopefully didn't, and just basically asking you to grade it a second time, for this question of mine.
Peter, do you foresee some of these assignments being changed as the semesters progress?
Yeah, in terms of the assignments themselves changing or the alignment changing?
Well, the assignments themselves. So in one instance, you said this discussion question 2, all right? And then we would discuss that. Down the road, as the semesters progress, do you see that changing from, say, discussion question 1 to discussion question 3 or 2?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So would the alignment change? Yeah. So if the alignment, if you see the alignment is, don't change on your own. Let me know or let sister know. But if you think the alignment is inappropriate for what we're trying to measure, let us know, and we will be delighted to change it, won't we, sister? Because there's no sense in actually trying to measure, using an assignment to try to measure something that the assignment is really not suited to measure. I mean, now what we did was we did put some thought into this, right? It wasn't, I didn't pull discussions at random. The reason I chose discussion 2 in this particular case was that discussion 2 actually had questions on the discussion about the specific thing that the outcome, that the program goal was supposed to measure, right? So that's why I chose that particular one. It wasn't like it was pulled at random where it was like, oh, I could have taken discussion 6 and we'll just do discussion 2 because I just drew it out of a hat or something. I mean, the discussions are, have been chosen because at least the way the discussions are written now, the questions that you've been using, the discussion prompts, they actually deal with the material that we wanted, or that specifically aligned with what the program outcome was. Okay, so in one case, there was a faculty member, and it's actually Elizabeth. I mean, there was one in which we had like a question that Elizabeth was asking that, sort of dealt directly with the program goals, but maybe not explicitly enough. And I just asked her if she would, consider tweaking it just a bit so we could, get a better alignment, as it were, so that the question was more directly asking the link between, Plato and Aristotle on the one hand and, some truth of Catholic theology in the other, so that, we can sort of say that this course is really actually fits within our program more easily, right? That's kind of the point. And these discussions happening is, of course, all, part of the, the benefit of building this so-called culture of assessment, right? That you're actually constantly looking at the courses and looking at the program goals and looking at the assignments in the courses and seeing, okay, well, these assignments are neat, but do they, do any of them actually measure what the program says that we're trying to do? And if not, is the course itself really fitting within the program? And if not, why are we running this course the way it is? That kind of thing. So I don't expect that there's going to be a huge problem with any of the courses. All the courses, fit very well within the program, and it was not a very difficult task for the most part to find aligned assignments. We had sort of an embarrassment of riches. There were a lot we could have chosen, but we tried to choose them in such a way that we got a little bit of variety, that every course was involved in some way, that every instructor was going to be involved a little bit, and so that we would have a nice, large, broad sampling of CDU courses, programs, faculty, students, to get a sense of how well we're doing. And to be honest with you, this is not new. I mean, we've been doing this for years internally at CDU, but the big problem with what we're doing up to now is that the faculty weren't really involved with it, except very indirectly. So, so this is a sort of a way to get you guys more sort of engaged and more, a little bit more engaged in the global questions that we're asking about the program.
Pete, I have a question. This is Kathy.
Yes.
So are we looking to try and tweak the initial discussion questions so that they explicitly meet program goals, or are we still allowed to leave a general opening discussion starter and let it develop organically?
Oh, yeah. So I only chose discussions where, or Sister and I, I'd say it was a joint effort. Sister and I only chose discussions where the discussion seemed to explicitly raise the point, in question that was aligned. So yeah, at this stage, going in this now, I'm not really asking you to change anything. Ideally, the changes would take place, once we kind of go through round one, and then we see kind of where we are. If you find that none of the students are really meeting the expectations the way you think, or very few of them are, or you're getting a lot of 2s and 1s, then probably there's going to be some kind of an adjustment needs to be made. It may not necessarily be with the assignment, it may be with the alignment. We may need to find a different assignment. Perhaps the assignment will need to be changed. Some cases, the assignment, is fine the way it is. It's just, it needs to be explained better to students so that they actually are doing what, a little bit more, moving a little bit more to where we would want them to do it within the broader context of the program.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So again, the idea is not for you to go and change anything to hit targets or to do alignments. That in theory is already done. Once we go through a round or two of this, and maybe we can meet again in January. Maybe we'll meet privately in a few cases before that, and then we'll just take a look and see how we're doing. And then the idea is that once we begin to aggregate data for each of the programs, we can kind of let you know, just collectively and individually, how well the courses are doing and where we're falling short, and how we can make our already good program even better. That's the idea of it. But it's not designed to prod you to change anything at this stage. Okay, you sort of already in theory changed, to make the course as good as it can be right now. So now we're just going to ask you, how well is the course doing within the program? Okay, any other questions? I don't want to keep you too much longer, but I want to make sure that, is everyone sort of understand what this is? It's just an outcome rubric. So if you've already been working with rubrics, you've already seen these. There's nothing new here. If you've not done rubrics before, it's as simple as clicking on the rubric button when you go in to grade that particular assignment, and then it pops up.
Well, if we have graded a rubric on the assignment already, will there be 2 rubric buttons?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. Some of you already have rubrics, okay, for this particular assignment. That didn't happen too often, but it did happen a few times. And what I did in that case was I just added the outcome rubrics right on top of that. So in that case, go ahead when you're grading and do the regular rubric that you've been doing all along, and then just go and fill the outcome rubrics in at the end. Okay, if that makes sense, okay?
Pete,
yep.
What's that?
That won't influence the overall grade.
It shouldn't, no.
Okay.
It shouldn't, and if it does, it will be in a very small way, because these are only on a 4-point scale.
Sure.
Okay. So, yeah.
Sorry, may I ask one other thing?
Yes, please.
Just to help me clarify, I think I've got a much better sense now, but if we are looking at an assignment and do we want our students' grades, in a sense, they did well overall on this assignment, to correlate in a way to their ability to meet this assessment? And if, for example, we had a lot of good grades on a quiz, they did well, but we felt that they didn't meet this goal for some reason. Is that a reflection then on the assignment failing to meet that standard, or, you know, I guess.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. So basically, we don't know, right? I mean, that's sort of the question that we ask ourselves. If it seems like the students did well on the quiz, but did horribly on the, but the assessment was kind of bad, then one question we would ask is, well, should the quiz be tweaked? Should we be asking more what the program itself is trying to meet? That would be one possibility, but another possibility might just be, you know, do we need to prepare the students a little bit better to answer the part of the question that they're not doing that well in? In other words, we just may not be teaching it as well, right? So that's another possibility. And of course, keep in mind, it's not just your course, right? For these particular outcomes, you know, there's going to be probably, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 other assignments and other courses that students will be measured on. So, you know, we're partly concerned with aggregate data as well, of which your course is only one assignment.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. That helps.
Okay. Anything else? Is anybody totally clueless on this? Because we tried to sort of prepare you for this a little bit, and I wanted to make sure we, you know, we're realistic. This is the first time doing this. There's probably going to be some bumps in the road trying this. You know, some of you may forget to do one or the other. You know, whatever. You know, it's okay. I mean, I just want to make sure that this is kind of something we're going to be doing from, you know, for a little bit. You know, to kind of assess the program. So this has kind of been part on our roadmap for a while, and I want to make sure you guys understand this, because it's going to be, you know, a million times more effective if you're involved with it than if you're not.
I think it was fairly clear.
Oh, okay, good.
I agree.
At least from my perspective.
Sounds good.
Okay, if you guys are totally not seeing this, or you totally don't understand what to do or how to find your targeted, your aligned assignment, just let me know and I'll walk you through it. But again, just all you do basically is just hit outcome. I'll show you one more time. Okay, so 3-step process, right? So hit outcome. There's a lot in this one. That's probably a bad example, but let's just show one that this has one in. So New Testament fulfills Old Testament. I click. Okay, I see term paper, final project. Go. Okay, when I go to grade these, okay, I go to speed grader, and I go to grade these. I just put the score in for the students. I write the comments I'm going to write. I grade it exactly the way I would before, except now I'm going to also look at this thing. Okay, so I'll you know, spend another 60 seconds at most filling this out, and probably not even that long to just say, okay, did the student hit this outcome? Do they understand how the New Testament fulfills the Old Testament based on this particular assignment? Okay, I give them a 3. That's a point, and I move on to the next one. So again, it's not, it should not be very disruptive to your workflow. We tried very hard to make it so that it is not a major disruption to what you're already doing. Okay, it's a you know, basically a small data collection task that we're asking, you know, each one of you in a very small way to participate in. Okay, if that makes any sense.
If I could just add in there, as far as the other rubrics, the rubrics we create for our assignments, I have found that to be super clarifying for my students, and I'm getting a lot better work back. So for what it's worth.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right. So again, the issue of grading rubrics is sort of it's sort of orthogonal to this in a way, in that the grading rubrics really are for the students, and they really are for the assignments. Grading rubrics is not data that Canvas aggregates, but it does, on the other hand, help students to know exactly how they'll be evaluated. It you know, helps you maybe to feel like you're a little less arbitrary in grading grades, I'm, to be honest with you, to be brutally honest, I myself still getting used to grading rubrics. I've only used them a little bit, and it's weird for me, rather than giving someone a final letter grade, to say, okay, well, this is an 18, that's a 20, it's an 18, it's 15, just a 3, whatever. I've never done that before, so it's a little hard for me. But again, it happens though that in Canvas the same software does both. It does outcome rubrics, which is what this is all about, and then also grading rubrics, which is what you all in some cases have been doing.
So Pete, are the outcomes set up only for fall 1 right now? Because I'm looking at my course that I'm teaching in fall 2, and it doesn't seem to have anything.
Right. So we are working on setting up the fall 2 ones. So they're basically done for the grad program all throughout the program. Okay, so if you're teaching any course at the grad level, they're already going to be in place. If you're teaching undergrad, you won't see anything new until you get to your course when you're teaching it. So the only ones that they've been added to now are fall 1 and a little bit fall 2, I think. Isn't that right, sister? I don't think we've done fall 2 yet, have we?
She left.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I just wanted to know because I didn't see it there. I went in and you did it, but that's
all right.
okay.
Excellent. Okay. So again, now is everyone okay with this? Do we sort of have some sense of what we're doing before I let you go? I don't want to keep you any longer. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. And again, it sounds like a lot, but it's actually it should be really, really seamless and easy for you to do. Okay, and it will probably be the fastest if you just do it. When you grade that particular assignment, if you just go and do the targeted assessment score with it. Okay.
Mm-hmm. One point of clarity that I would ask. You said a little while ago that you weren't sure if the scores for the institutional assessment somehow merge into the outcomes for our own class rubrics. And I would encourage you, if that's hidden from the students, that you find some way to disengage it from the calculator, because students do sometimes notice that their score doesn't match up.
Right.
Why they are down a couple of points, or they're up a couple of points from what's there. So. Right. Oh, some way to disconnect them, that probably would be good.
Okay. Right. Yeah. So I'll look at the spirituality that I think we did do a target assessment on one of your spirituality questions, but I'm not sure if it was the one that you already had a rubric for or not.
Yeah, I have rubrics on all mine now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Great. Okay. Anything else before I let you go? I'm going to skip the other items from the agenda because we're already a little over, and I don't want to keep you much longer. But I'll be happy to email you the other stuff.
Are we still doing the webinars?
Yeah, we are going to work on a substitute for those, and I will be happy to let you know about that in probably another month or two. Okay. But yeah, Matthew and I are trying to put together a podcast. That hopefully you all can kind of be part of in various ways, that I think will be a little bit more fun, a little bit more engaging, and kind of broaden the discussion a little bit past ourselves, just talking among ourselves, and maybe having us talk a little bit more to outside people about stuff that's going on. So stay tuned for that, and we will I'll let you know in probably another month, or probably next couple of months. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Very good. Anything else?
No.
All right. Well, thank you all for coming out. And again, let me know if this is unclear. I'm recording this as well, so if you want to watch the second half, if it seems weird or unclear, then you can watch that as well. I did that for a couple of people, told me they couldn't make it, so. That's an option. Okay.
Great.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you,
All right.
Pete.
Thanks a lot. Good night, everyone.
Hey, everybody.
Have a good one.
Okay.
Enjoy your vacation.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody. God bless.
Bye.
See you.